Good afternoon, YouTube. This is Econ Kate 88, and this is another one of Toledo's promises that has never became reality. This is what's known as the steam plant. This is downtown on the riverfront. And one thing I've noticed about the Toledo media and political machines is they tend to recycle the same stories. And every 2 or 3 years, for at least 20 years now, they roll this story back out, trot out either the same developer or a new developer who's going to convert this former steam plant into apartments, condos, lofts, whatever you want to call them. And I believe the latest story that I heard was it was going to be 67 luxury apartments slash condos slash lofts. And the history of downtown Toledo hinged upon this happening. Again, I've heard this over and over and over again, as have the rest of the people in this area. And the reason why I'm down here is because we're kind of overdue to hear about this. And there are several similar projects that they just talk about, again, over and over and over. This is our riverfront. This is the downtown side. Probably one of the most underutilized riverfronts in the United States. Used to have Party in the Park down here in the summer, and that kind of folded several years ago. The city ran out of money. When it did run out of money, was one of the first casualties of budget cuts. I personally don't think the city should have ever been involved in that type of thing in the first place. If they cannot find a private sponsor or cannot make enough money through the ticket sales and beer sales, then we shouldn't have it. And so now we don't have it. I will say the east side of the river today over at the docks does look pretty busy. Quite a few boats over there. I hear a lot of music playing. If you own a boat and you're not out on a weekend like this, you probably should get rid of your boat, unless you have to work on the weekends, of course. Because it has been beautiful here. Just perfect weather for the last 2 or 3 weeks here. No rain, no humidity, or little humidity. Temperatures in the 70s to low 80s. Just been fantastic. That aside, back to steam plant here. I want you to keep this in mind, folks, because it's easy to get brainwashed by the local political and media machines when they keep touting these same stories, because they really do sell it. We just have to do this, and it's such a great idea. Well, why is it such a great idea to add more apartments and housing in a city that has had declining population for between 30 and 40 years? The job market here is horrendous. Crime is bad here. There are worse places. We're not quite Detroit yet, but sometimes we can appear as a close cousin of Detroit, believe me. There's a few shootings last night. So again, you can kind of get a sense of just how dead this area is. That's the main street that goes through downtown Summit. That's a low-income housing building there. That building that you see now is actually empty, 100% empty. And they've talked about revitalizing that for I don't know how long, and it's still sitting empty. Chinese own that hotel there. Actually, they own both of them, the Park Inn and then this other one. Used to be a Holiday Inn years ago. And I've done other videos about this in the past. Let's get a little bit closer look at this steam plant so you can see the size of this place. mentioned this in a couple other videos I've done this week, and I'm going to probably upload them all today, tomorrow, and the next day. But I'm going to give another plug, my personal endorsement, to a person who is a candidate who is running for Toledo City Council. His name is Ron Johns. He watches my YouTube videos. Not sure if he's a subscriber or not, but anyway, if you're not a subscriber, Mr. Johns, please subscribe. I'd like to hear you. I'd like to read you commenting on some of these videos as well. I'd like to know what you think about some of this stuff. But if you live in Toledo, vote for Ron Johns. He's a Ron Paul Republican, and we certainly can use more of that type of thinking in Toledo politics. And if you want to know my opinion, Mr. Johns, about what should be done with projects like this, such as the steam plant, the Marina District, or whatever else, do what Ron Paul would do. I don't think we can go wrong there. It was not really being maintained that well. Just has the looks of a tired and worn out city, doesn't it? That's wide open to the elements there. So there's bound to be just thousands of pigeons in there, and other birds and rodents, etc. This is the valet lot for COSI, our science museum, which is there. Used to be a mall. Talked about it several other times. I'm not going to talk about it today, but you can see how empty it is. Probably not even open this time of day. If not, it's about to close. It's 5 o'clock now. I don't know what the dollar amount is that they've talked about that this steam plant project will cost. It is a good location, but I don't want any public money being used for it. Private developer cannot do it on his own or her own or their own. Then this place should just sit here and let Mother Nature take it back, which is kind of what's happening anyway. You certainly wouldn't have to worry about too many people wanting to break in from this side, because who knows what's in those weeds. But again, this is Toledo's, there's a bunch of pigeons right up there. This is Toledo's steam plant. And what I want people to realize is start paying closer attention to what comes out of politicians' mouths, because they tend to recycle the same stories over and over again, and they'll report it as a news story. Like the same guy, I believe the guy's name is Dave Ball. He's the one who has supposedly been going to develop this place for a long time. There's another guy that was involved in it at one time, former professional basketball player Jimmy Jackson, who is a Toledoan, native Toledoan. I think they gave him like a $300,000 grant to get started on this, and then the real estate bubble went pop, and Jimmy Jackson decided to back out on the city, which was probably a great idea on his part for his own finances, but still, that's why there shouldn't be any free money for this stuff. Skin in the game. If developers are not willing to put some skin in the game, then it should not happen. And I really don't think in a dead town like this you're going to see too many people willing to fork up tens of millions of dollars of their own money to develop some waterfront apartments in a city with a declining population. Just don't see it. So that's it for this one. This is Econ Kate 88 signing off from Toledo, Ohio, ground zero of the economic collapse.